Well, for the fifth straight year, Tasmania is hosting Hi-Tec Oil's Race Tasmania in the opening round of the exciting 2025 Trico Trans Am Series. 65 years of motor racing history at Symmons Plains, just outside Launceston, is the host and venue for today's opening round of the series. It's been a big weekend at Hi-Tec Oil's Race Tasmania. We've got plenty more racing coming up over the next 4 hours here. I'm Aaron Noonan, great to have you with us for what is set to be a very big afternoon. 4 categories in action. Thomas Randall is with us too. You've swapped the Tickford Mustang for a microphone this weekend, and we've already seen 2 races over the course of the weekend so far.
Race highlights here now, and the intention was clear from the outset. Will Twining and Jackson Shaw into each other, and that was pretty much the story of the majority of the race, right down to the last 2 turns. There was contact also from Brewer, and that was onto O'Shea. That brewed for a while. In the end, O'Shea was the one that dominated there, but this battle throughout was intense.
It was. I mean, it just was boiling over, wasn't it? And Jackson Shaw making his way back to the front of the pack after what happened into turn number 1 and 2, getting so close to the back of Twining there at turn number 4, and they actually did make contact with 2 laps to go into turn number 4, and Tabitha Ambrose just hanging in there while these two were battling out for the lead, and yeah, it was pretty chaotic in the end with these two fighting over the race lead from the get-go. And Jackson Shaw, that was that move with 1 lap to go. There was a little bit of bump and run at the hairpin on that second last lap, and Twining wanting to get back at him. And this is into turn number 6, and that is pretty much I would say a potential penalty there after drilling what you would say Jackson Shaw. So race control had to have a look at that, see if he braked early or not. But yeah, that was pretty much square in the back bumper bar of Jackson Shaw, and that's left Shaw down in position number 6.
So we're going to run through the starting grid for race 4 of the ACL Race Series, Hyundai Excels. Will Twining and Tabitha Ambrose will be on the front row. Connor O'Shea and Dylan Cooper will be on the second row. Adam Brewer and Jackson Shaw on row number 3. Damien Midgley and Benjamin Davey, row 4. Rick Burt and Leslie Axelson on row number 5. And we'll see the last row on the grid, and that contains Jonathan Marshall, and Denzel Sargent is listed but has not taken part in any races since the very beginning of the weekend. So back to that thought, what happened in the Trans Am race, mate? From your perspective, how did you get through?
I think I closed my eyes too. There was that.
No, that's who he was talking about. Your dad said are you pretty sure you closed your eyes?
There was so much action. Honestly, at one point I didn't even know what position I was in. But the Trans Am racing has been absolutely electric this weekend. I am loving it.
I was about to say, you haven't stopped smiling since I've seen you. It is a big transition, though, from TCR and some of the other cars you've run to come into Trans Am, isn't it?
Absolutely. I need to be really careful on my right foot. Now I've got 4 extra cylinders. Likes to light the rears up pretty easily, but it is definitely a transition, and I'm having so much fun.
It's one thing that many a supercar driver over the journey has shown when they come back to state-level racing or other forms is just that patience on throttle, that throttle application. It's a critical component when you've got so much horsepower under your right foot. What you don't have in terms of horsepower in this category, though, you make up for in racecraft, and that's what we saw in the last one. Will Twining and Jackson Shaw going toe-to-toe. Now, what is on the line for this one as we get ready for a race start? The winner of this round gets a test drive in a Trans Am, courtesy of Gary Rogers Motorsport. And Will Twining's in the mix, so too Tabitha Ambrose, and that will be your front row. And they're off and racing now. Will Twining jumps to a good start. Tabitha Ambrose, though, stays with him. It was aggressive early on with Jackson Shaw and Will Twining on race number 3, and right now it looks relatively clean, but then O'Shea and Cooper coming together slightly early, much like they were doing through race 3 earlier today. So Will Twining out in front right now, Tabitha Ambrose, O'Shea, Cooper and Jackson Shaw as we ride on board with Tabitha Ambrose.
Tabitha will want to be going with Will here. She was real feisty and wanted to win this race, so I think she's going to be trying to hang on that boot lid of Will, but that car has been so fast all weekend. I'm sure Jackson Shaw is in the background. He's want to get it back up the front as well. You see Tabitha get a good exit there, just trying to stay on that boot lid. I think it's a headwind down that back straight, so the toe's going to work extra strong today.
So Ben Bargwana in the booth, Cameron Vandendungen calling the action, Aaron Noonan down in pit lane, and that is Jackson Shaw looking to put a move on O'Shea. O'Shea covers off. Shaw will have to go around the outside, covers back again. As you can see, Cooper just locking up under brakes. So too does Brewer, who's just behind Jackson Shaw. Jackson Shaw in the number 10. Now, he is the major threat to Will Twining for that potential test drive in a Trans Am. It's a big reward for young drivers. Great to see the Tasmanian Hyundai Excel Championship, or Series I should say, in such good health.
Jackson's been really quick, but so is O'Shea and Cooper. They're not going to make it easy for him to get back to Will. And Tabitha's pushing really hard. She wants to stay with Will too. So Jackson Shaw's got his work cut out for him, that's for sure. A few lockups in the rear there. Jackson Shaw looks to the inside, gets down the inside too wide at the hairpin. Doesn't quite get there, but he'll slot back in that boot lead and try to get the toe.
So he needs to get through. At the moment, if it finished the way it is right now, Will Twining would be winning the round and also getting a drive in a Trans Am, as Jackson Shaw just about takes to the grass as the 28 of O'Shea covers off. Very defensive and moving multiple times as Jackson Shaw, big lock-up, dives to the inside. And I got up in the seat there because that was a massive move by Jackson Shaw. I don't know how he pulled that up, but he got through. Jackson Shaw now in the top 4. And I think I may have blown a few speakers around the circuit.
That was every way but straight there for a second. Jackson Shaw got the move done. He'll looking to push on forward here.
Wow, I got up in the seat on that one. That was incredible from Jackson Shaw. Twining, Ambrose, Cooper, and now Shaw. The tyres will potentially be 50-cent pieces out there at the moment. And look who he's brought with him. Dylan Cooper and Connor O'Shea.
There's still 13 minutes to go here. They probably don't want to get too aggressive too early. Tabitha might get a good run on Will, but you don't want to go too early here. There's still plenty of time. And if this becomes a 3-car race, you don't want it to become a 4 or 5-car race. So you've got to keep working together.
It's too late, Ben. I think it's a 5-car race. Because there's Jackson Shaw. He's engaged now. And he's brought with him Dylan Cooper and Connor O'Shea.
Unfortunately for Will, he just feels like a parachute at the moment, and he's bringing everyone along for the ride.
So the question is, when does Tabitha Ambrose go? She has a look now. Up the inside goes Tabitha Ambrose. This is for the race lead. Will there be contact? She holds Twining out wide. He drops a wheel, and Tabitha Ambrose now leads, and Jackson Shaw's gone with her. And it looks like they've just gapped Will Twining. So from first to third for Twining, and now Ambrose leads Jackson Shaw. And for the round, that was decisive because Jackson Shaw now leads by 1 point. Critically important for Twining to get through. There was no love lost in the third race.
Absolutely not. These two came together and they're probably still a bit feisty about it. But now Tabitha's in the lead. Oh, big move. Oh, left, right. Oh, that was very close, but Tabitha holds on. Now Jackson Shaw's right there though. This toe's going to work really strong. Wouldn't be surprised if Will Twining gets a good run here as well.
Look at Connor O'Shea, purple to the first sector. So Ambrose, Shaw, Twining, Cooper and O'Shea, the battle between all 5 for the lead. There it is, on screen, heading through the sweeper. And now, have a look at this. It looks like Twining's about to put a move on. Jackson Shaw. Shaw covers off. He has a look up the inside now of Tabitha Ambrose. Twining locks up. Ambrose hung to the outside. Jackson Shaw through. Twining gives plenty of racing room. And Ambrose stays in it. Great driving.
Whoa. That is crazy.
Got up in the seat there. As now, Jackson Shaw holds on. Twining round the outside. Ambrose. She's going to fight back here. So Shaw from Twining and Ambrose. Great racing. Full credit to each of these drivers because they gave each other enough racing room. Really good driving.
Now look at that. The next two are back in. O'Shea, Cooper, they're back in it. This is now a 5-car race. This is awesome.
Still plenty of time. 5 minutes 45 plus 1 lap. In the final race for the ACL Race Series Hyundai XLs. And right now, the round win, if we finished in this order, the round win would go the way of Jackson Shaw, your race leader. So it's always good when a potential round is decided for a race win. The winner out of these 3, or at least these 2, in front of the field will decide who wins the round. That's how close it's been for the Hyundai Excels.
Having that prize on the line, it just puts a little bit of extra pressure on this last race, especially how close the points are between these two. And look, Tabitha's still a chance to win it as well. It makes the energy a lot higher. It makes the tension a lot higher, especially as we get closer and closer to the end of this race. And they know it too. They might not know what lap it is, but they know it's getting close and the tension's going to be rising, absolutely.
Teams will be on the radio, keeping their drivers calm. Jackson Shaw, one of the favourites to win the Tasmanian Championship, the state championship for the Hyundai Excels. He looks on after a disappointing end to race 3 due to contact as Twining goes to the outside. This is when he attempts to put the move on. Not going to be able to do it around the outside, and Tabitha Ambrose now shows the nose. She'll get a run here. She might be through. Twining will fight back. Jackson Shaw smiles with delight that the two behind him are fighting it out as Tabitha Ambrose now through into second. 1 minute 30 plus 1 lap. Jackson Shaw getting a bit of a gap now from Tabitha Ambrose. She'll have to do it all again under brakes. I thought she had the best of her chances through the sweeper last lap around, but then having to tuck back in meant that she just gave up a little bit too much track space. Whoa, I think she's got one from Will Twining there on exit.
She's right there. We know she's fast in that middle sector, and she's really good at that second last corner too. She might be able to do the up and under, but she'll just have to wait and see. Jackson Shaw goes white line again. Tabitha's going to go around the outside. Let's see. Oh, slots back in. Might be looking to the outside, late on the brakes. See if she switches back here. She can get a good run out of the second last corner. Jackson comes narrow out of that second last corner though. As they come across the start finish, 40 seconds left, probably 2 more laps.
Good. This is good. This is good from Tabitha Ambrose. She's being pushed along by Will Twining. So Jackson Shaw, he's had to run real skinny into turn 2. He holds on. Twining now gets overlap. And he's through on Tabitha Ambrose. She tucks back in behind. 20 seconds. So there'll be 1 lap remaining at the end of this one. Shaw, Ambrose, Twining. It's actually Shaw, Twining, Ambrose now as we ride on board with Ambrose up to the hairpin for the second last time. And I feel like something is going to give, and she copped one in the back. So she was hit from behind. But Tabitha Ambrose, we were on board when it happened.
See if she can get that reversed up and get going. Ah, that's devastating. She was absolutely on for the win of that race.
She was in the window for it. Be interesting to know exactly what happened there, but it looked very much like she had contact at the rear. So now lap traffic may well play a part in this. Lock up slightly from Jackson Shaw. Will Twining's in the hunt, but traffic being used to his advantage by Jackson Shaw. 1 to go. And it's the 2 key protagonists in the battle this weekend, duking it out for the race win. And whoever wins this battle will win the round.
And the Trans Am drive. This has got everything on the line. They are nose to tail. It's been an epic fight all weekend. It's coming down to this last lap. Jackson Shaw's got a little bit of a gap heading down to the hairpin, but if Will gets a good enough exit out of here, he'll be right there with an opportunity down the second last corner.
Look how comfortable Jackson Shaw was. Took his normal race line there. That'll give him a better exit. Will Twining has 1 position left to do it, and that'll be at the end of this back straight.
He's
through the sweeper.
Enough. He's close enough. The toe's going to be working. He'll get there right at the braking zone. Jackson's probably going to go to the inside like he has been. Will's going to have to get incredibly creative here to see if he can come up with something. He goes to the outside. Jackson's on the inside. Who's the latest breaker? Will might be looking at the switch back here, but it looks like Jackson Shaw's just going to hold on. Will's trying to get up the inside, but Jackson Shaw is going to cross the line first place, and he's going to get that Trans Am drive and the weekend win.
And a round of applause breaking out spontaneously from Ben Barguana in the commentary box. What a race for the Hyundai Excel ACL Race Series, Race 4. What a round, what a race. Jackson Shaw gets the race win. He had to do it from 6. The official results now from the ACL Race Series Hyundai Excels. Jackson Shaw getting the job done from Will Twining. Connor O'Shea came home in third, Dylan Cooper in fourth. Tabitha Ambrose salvaged a result in the top 5 after being offloaded at the hairpin just towards the end of that race. Adam Brewer in 6th, Damien Midgley in 7th, Rick Burt, Benjamin Davey and Leslie Axelson round out the 10.
A test in a Trans Am car was on the line. Here's a winner's trophy as well. It's getting better by the second, Jackson. Well done.
Yeah, no, it was good. Great racing there. And yeah, thanks heaps to Barry and Gary for the Trans Am test. I've never driven anything like that before, so that'll be top tier. And thanks heaps to Paul for talking me through the race.
Super stuff. Well bowled. Have you already penciled in when this test is going to happen? Have you asked?
No, I haven't asked. I thought I better not get ahead of myself, but we'll see.
Well done. Well done.
Thanks very much.
Super stuff from Jackson Shaw. We might head across to our runner-up, Will Twining. And we've got a hat for Will. We've got merch. We've got it all, mate. Look at that. Looking the part. Oh, George Gambino from Hi-Tec Oils is here as well with our runner-up trophy, Will. Look out. It's trying to get away from you. Hey, well done, mate. There's plenty going on today, but you guys have put on the best racing, I reckon, of any category this weekend.
Yeah, Excels normally, we love to put on a show. You know, these are awesome cars for racing, and we don't get the chance to be on this stage on TV, on front of the crowd very much. So when I saw Tabitha coming up behind me, I didn't block. I left the door open. I thought, let's get into it. Let's put on a show. So that's all you can really do. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great show. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Let's head on down across to Connor O'Shea. He's here as well. Third in that one. George from Hi-Tec Oils with the trophy here as well. I think at one stage earlier on in this race, Connor, I saw your car bouncing off the wall on the exit of the hairpin. Was that you?
Yeah, it was. We're just struggling with our exit speed of the hairpin all weekend. So we're trying to get on the throttle much earlier. Just pushing it to the limit so we hit the wall. Did it a couple of times over the weekend, but we just need to find a bit more speed in the car with out of the exit out of the hairpin.
Super stuff. Well played.
Thank you very much.
There he is, Connor O'Shea. Super stuff here. You've got something special here for Tabitha Ambrose, who, not top 3 in that race. You did everything but get onto the top 3, but you've got something here that's very special, an award that your team's handing out this weekend.
Yeah, we have noons, and look, Gary's been a big supporter of our young drivers coming through over the years, as we know, and, you know, performance is one thing, but the way you present yourself, the way... The whole show. It's not just about driving. Obviously, Tabitha showed today some tremendous racing. It was fantastic, and but she represents ladies well in motorsport, and we need more of them. And she represents her family well and the sport well. So good on you, Tabitha.
Thank you so much.
Gary's, I was going to say memorial trophy. It's not quite memorial yet. It's perpetual. So stick in there, Dad. Right? Well done.
Well done, Tabitha. Super stuff. You were right in that fight. This, let's have a look. This is the Gary Rogers Perpetual Trophy, the second year it's been handed out to the Hyundai Excels this weekend. You did just about everything in all these races this weekend.
Thank you. I mean, I really tried. It was such a great race. I hope it was as exciting to watch as it was to race. I mean, these guys put on such a great fight. I'm just so thrilled to be here at home and race with the best that Tassie has got to offer.
You did well. We love watching it. Some awesome racing. Well done.
Thank you.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coming up on the other side of this break.
Hi-Tec Oils, Race Tasmania. What a sight. The weather has been sensational.
The final race, the Australian Prototype Series. We didn't need 70 cars yesterday to have excitement with the Australian Prototype Series. The boys drove really hard. They raced as a pack yesterday, and in the end, it'd be a bit of feeling as Jason Macris led us away in the early stages. John Paul Drake in the all-black 66. And it's a case of everybody leading some laps here. That was Mark Lauke making an early move on Aaron Steer. This was Paul Martin, who would spin himself out of contention and park at the end of lap number 1. JP Drake just set the field on fire here, lap after lap. I think everybody led at least 2 or 3 laps yesterday.
They did, and they just kept trading places between Phil Hughes, Macris, JP Drake. We didn't know what the game plan was, but I think they must have had a chat pre-race. So this was Hughes and JP Drake going basically side by side through turn number 1, and then Macris heading up the inside out of turn number 2. So they were having a bit of fun out there, and I guess we teased the prospect of, hang on a sec, maybe these boys may accidentally race a bit too hard, which I'm sure we'll see very shortly that is what ended up being the case, and this is what led to our race finishing on a safety car potentially a bit of miscommunication between the two, a bit awkward between the Jam Motorsport teammates. We ultimately finished the first race under safety car, and now Aaron Steer, who was behind the wheel of the Wolf Thunder Class AP3 car.
Race number 3 of the weekend, with a shower of rain added into the mix. It was quite heavy down there at turn 6, and the cars were caught out by the conditions here at turn number 1. All lucky not to head off onto the gravel trap. But watch the last car in shot here. Bit of wheel spin, spins the car around, returns to the track, but would head to the pits moments later, leaving us with the 4 cars on the track. This was Macris trying to make the move on the outside, but the conditions were quite treacherous out of turn 4 and even worse down at turn 6.
Yeah, not the most ideal conditions to start the race while everyone's on cold, slick tyres, and yeah, unfortunately for Martin, had that moment clouding the wall out of turn number 3, and these 3 were just going at it for most of the race and trying some different lines out of turn number 4. Hughes trying to put that move back on Macris, but you can just see that wheel spin with how slippery the track is, and JP Drake just hanging in there behind in position number 3. And these two were just trading places pretty much all race, right towards the end as well. This was that move into turn number 4 that Macris put on Hughes. And, Hughes going for, as what we call the classic switchback, and the run down into turn number 6, getting that move back on Macris at turn number 6. So then we had JP Drake pull over to the side in a very awkward position between turns 3 and 4, and the Buckby Motors safety car grabbed control of the field, which we ultimately finished under safety car. And JP Drake got that thing fired back up, so not quite sure what the problem was there, but...
Here's the grid for the final race of the Australian Prototype Series, their season opener. They'll be part of the undercard at Mount Panorama in just a couple of weeks' time too. Hughes and Macris on the front row, Lauke and JP Drake and Paul Martin, hopefully just to get a result today. The final race, the Australian Prototype Series, is about to go green here at Symmons Plains Raceway, and does. Beautiful start, front row. Macris and Hughes. Hughes should have the better line. They tap through the middle of turn 1 and 2, which stacks up JP Drake and Mark Lauke behind. And Paul Martin shadowing the field as they make their way down to turn 4 for the first time.
Yeah, slight bit of contact there into turn 2 between Hughes and Macris has taken the lead from Phil Hughes. A big lock-up on that left front, and we've had a big moment for Lauke into turn number 4. Managed to just gather it up and gone, well, he's bowled a massive wide there at the hairpin. So gathered it up, and what would appear to be having a much cleaner opening lap than we did this morning.
It sounded like our race leader was cruising there for a moment. And down into turn 6, so Macris, and evidence in the lap speed, the speed of that trap was 183 k's to 220. So get the boys have had a bit of a chat again here. Let's make a race out of it, and they're doing that on this, the second lap. So JP Drake jumping into the 23 machine that Aaron Steer had yesterday. He runs in 3rd position. And now Hughes and Macris pick up where they left off in that first one today.
They just need to be careful after what we saw in the opening race yesterday, that it seemed like they must have had a pre-race chat about doing a few overtakes on each other, which ended up leading in with contact between Macris and JP Drake, and JP Drake ending up in the wall, and that car being withdrawn from the weekend effectively. So that's where that driver change has occurred, just like the commentary change we had earlier. That quick driver change between you and Cameron Vanden Dungen. So
we've worked that pretty well this weekend.
Absolutely.
250 k's an hour for Macris that time around, comfortably quickest of the field, and stretches the legs of the 24 championship winning car. The man from the Gold Coast has won the championship on more than one occasion, but last year was supreme in the series. And just wants to have some fun here, maybe set a lap record and then let the field come back to him a bit.
So as you mentioned, Nolts, 180 kilometres an hour at the speed trap on the opening lap, and then 250 kilometres an hour on the second lap. So he's really stretched the legs here. Just under a 2-second margin between himself and Phil Hughes. JP Drake there back in 3rd position. And Lauke in the number 55 machine. And JP Drake actually letting Lauke through, it would appear. So those two having a little battle over position number 3 there. And Macris, 253 in the speed trap, and he's just broken the lap record with a 52.7.
200s quicker than JP Drake's time from yesterday, and a fraction quicker in the speed traps on the previous lap. So Lauke's got ahead here of Jean-Paul Drake on the way down to turn number 4 we go. It's gone a bit overcast once again. See when those... Oh, we got dramas on the exit. Is that our race leader? It is. The fire has gone out perhaps as he pushed the car too hard after breaking the lap record. What has gone on with car 1? Because this was going to be the win and the win overall for the weekend. It's fired again. Away he goes.
Like another Control-Alt-Delete, Nolts. Similar to what happened to JP Drake in the opening race this morning. So I don't know what's happened there, but looks like another Control-Alt-Delete, and he's re-fired back up. But yeah, he's down in position number 5 now, and he just set the fastest first sector on that lap as well. So, and the lap before he'd broken the lap record. So he's going to beat it again that lap, unfortunately. So I don't know what's happened there, whether it's yeah, electrical drama or something, but he's managed to get that thing going again and circulating once more. And this is left Phil Hughes now out in front.
22 seconds away from the leaders, so he'll make a race out of it now, trying to charge to Phil Hughes. And suddenly Mark Lauke is second. He's been running a lonely race all weekend long and now finds himself in second, while Macris has gone faster again at the first sector. So Control-Alt-Delete, I think I'm with you on that one. The car seems fine. It's about to break the lap record once again, it seems.
Just felt like doing it from 5th instead of 1st, it seems. Maybe just was a bit bored out in front there, Noel.
Should do a lap of pit lane as well and come back out.
Not that Joker lap, MotoGP style.
Exactly. The long lap. And there it is. Not just the new lap record, it's 2 seconds quicker than yesterday. Storming his way back towards the field. Paul Martin will feel the wind of car number 1 whiz on by, does down at the turn 4 hairpin. And the reigning Prototype Series champion is tearing up Symmons Plains Raceway today.
I mean, his best lap, Nolts, is only 3 seconds faster than Phil Hughes's, so, you know, should be able to win this race fairly comfortably. And he's just taken the lead back over from Phil Hughes. A few more lock brakes from Phil Hughes. Front left there, easy to pinch into turn number 4. Front gets very unweighted into there with how much camber change there is. Such a tight corner that at Symmons Plains. Probably the slowest corner that we go to on the calendar. This track opening in 1960, Nolts. Resembling a pork chop with an extended bone. It was noted originally for its unusual start-finish position, which was located on a curve out of turn number 3.
Pretty much where we're approaching now. This used to be the last turn, and the grid would start there. There used to be the pits in the background, and that bridge used to be the starter's tower.
JP Drake in the lane.
His car's barking. Listen to it. He's obviously not flustered by it. Now, is this just a penalty, perhaps, or is he just
a bit of a demo for us?
Thank you, JP Drake. The showman returns to the track while a passy move happening down here at turn 6. Lauke back on Hughes. Oh, he climbs the curb. That could have been really bad for the 42.
Now, that's one thing you don't want to be doing in prototypes, mounting any curbs. So, yeah, these cars, how low they are to the ground, how stiffly sprung they are. You know, it's like a Formula 3 car. You don't want to be taking really any curbs because the suspension doesn't really like that. You have to run them so stiff because of the aero platform that these cars generate. Another big lock up there from Lauke. Glenn Seaton's no stranger to working on Trans Ams. His son, Aaron, having done many rounds in the Trico Trans Am Series, actually is equal tied with the, as we've had a moment here for Martin into turn number 4. Just luckily dropped the right-hand front wheel on the dirt there and just caught him off guard. So Macris just keeps breaking that lap record, 49.39. And speaking of fastest laps, I was going to say Aaron Seaton tied at the moment with the most number of poles in the Trico Trans Am Series on 5. So we're not seeing, unfortunately, no Aaron Seaton with us this weekend. But Glenn, yeah, underneath the car there and trying to get that thing back out for the final race later this afternoon.
You know what? I think he's going to go for a 48. What do you think?
That would be exciting.
He's gearing himself up for it. Doesn't need to do any of this. This is purely for his own enjoyment. Wringing the neck of this Jam Motorsport number 1 entry. 3.5 minutes to go. In fact, you're staying to capture the other 2 cars that aren't a lap down. And here we go. Fastest first sector again.
I feel like we're watching qualifying, Knowles.
The time attack has moved into Symmons Plains for a weekend.
He's only 4/10 away from potentially getting a 48 here. Let's just keep following him through. He's 3/10 down in the middle sector, so I don't think it's going to be on this lap. But he's 25 seconds, no, it's 25 seconds in front of Lauk after, like you said, he was 20 seconds behind. So, yeah, I think maybe he's realised that might be all she's got.
47-second turnaround from the moment he spun this car, or stopped this car coming out of turn 4.
That's nearly a whole lap.
Crazy.
No one's getting close to Macris for the lap record here today.
Will he do it now? And this is the final lap. Oh, no! He's done it!
Won't be doing it this lap.
He was absolutely going for it.
Oh, 100%. Fighting the turn 1 and turn 2.
Don't stall, don't stall.
Here we go. He's only 36 seconds up the road, so I think he's going to still hang on to the victory here.
Can you imagine the amount of heat that's gone through this car if he'd stalled and couldn't get it fired then?
Wouldn't have been good.
No.
Those rear tyres have worked pretty hard in this race, Knowles.
They'll be looking for a holiday at the end of this. So he's not going to break the lap record for the 19th time today in today's race. But that 49.3, just a staggering lap at over 254 kilometres an hour before. Lauki, has he been overtaken here? He has, and Hughes has gone back up to second. While down the final turn, 2 little wild moments in this race. But it's absolutely turned on a show, breaking the lap record, and is going to walk this car to the checkered flag. Macris wins the final race of the Australian Prototype Series, or the Time Attack Challenge as was like to known in that final one. The new lap record of 49.3982, 3 seconds quicker than yesterday's time. Second and third making their way around to finish with Hughes and Lauki. Lauki probably felt a bit hard done by there. He was second for a lot of that race. And that'll be the race and the weekend in the Australian Prototype Series.
JP Drake giving a few shackers there out of the cockpit, and all 5 managed to finish the race. Knowles.
Macris stopping the car, restarting, 21 seconds behind. Went to the lead several laps later, then went on this absolute tear of breaking the lap record, lap after lap after lap. At Noons, we're always impressed by seeing numbers, but a sub 50, wow, that's fast.
Yeah, Matt, that's unbelievably quick. I tell you what, he's given us a bit of everything in this prototype race, that's for sure. Let's get in and have a chat to our race winner. Anytime you're going under 50 seconds at Symmons Plains, you're moving. You gave us a bit of everything in that race. Drop to the back, work your way through, build a lead, go really quick, have a lose. It was all going on.
Yeah, so the start, yeah, just fired away, and then had that little mix-up with my car just switched off, so I had to sort of reset it all and then just put pedal down and just go all the way back up and just keep going and get quicker laps. So, yeah, that's the story of it all. And then the spin, I don't know. Just trying to get as much quicker times as I can get.
Well, you got some fast times. Anytime you're under 50 seconds at Symmons Plains, that's moving quick. Unbelievable. Well done.
Thanks, mate. And thank you to Symmons Plains. Thank you.
We'll head across to second place. He won earlier on in the day, Phil Hughes. Hello, fine sir. Lovely to see you. You look a little sweaty, but good fun day at the racetrack.
Yeah, no, that was a great race. So we had a bit of fun there, and Macris just left us. That was impressive to see. It's a pleasure to follow cars like that, right? And I was just having a ball. And then we had a good old dice with Lauki. And I hadn't changed anything on the car. I just drove what I had from the last race. And it was getting sketchy at the back. The tyres were starting to go off towards the end there. I had a couple of big hairy moments, but no, they really had a good fun race.
Just quickly, is this car for sale still?
Absolutely, it's on for sale. My 105, go check it out. It's cheap. It's a race winner. It's got loads of points. Reliable. Did not miss a beat. Buy it.
You can't say that I haven't done my bit. Well done, Phil. One careful owner and only driven on Sundays very quickly in Tasmania. We might grab Mark. Oh, Mark Lackey's doing a runner here. Mark, come on back to the car here. You're trying to do a runner to get out of doing some TV. Hey, this has been a quiet weekend. Every time I see your car on track, there's no one to play with, but you had a bit more fun in that one.
I did indeed. Yes, that was more fun. We were able to stretch our legs because the BOP, the way it was calculated, came off me. And then it was a matter of managing tyres with Phil Hughes, and that was brilliant racing. We both loved it.
Well done, mate. Great job.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coming up on the other side of this break.
Hi-Tec Oils, Race Tasmania.
As the curtain starts to come down on this 5th edition down at Symmons Plains Raceway.
The Sparco Tassie Tin Tops are out on track, getting ready for race number 4. Their final race of the weekend. Brad Sheriff did it well off that race start. Tim Mann went with him. Honey Pitt did well to hold out the challenges, particularly those 6-litre V8s that were putting her little Lotus Exige under pressure. But wasn't he quick from the beginning? Brad Sheriff bolted into the distance, ultimately on his way to set a new race lap record of 52.0733, tantalisingly close to going sub 52 here at Symmons Plains. He broke the previous lap record by 9/10 of a second. And there was the big moves from Brad Sheriff, and that, when he got into the traffic, was what brought Tim Mann back into contention here. Brad Sheriff struggling to get through with ease. That was the moment that all of a sudden it went wrong for Troy Wood. He's been battling those gremlins all weekend long. Sheehan in his GTR also had gremlins and pulled back in. The battle got close towards the end between your race leader Sheriff in his GTR out in front, and then the 6-litre V8 of Tim Mann, who was so good under brakes. But then, as we watched here, point and squirt, GTR gone. And he did enough to stay out in front. We've got plenty more racing to go, but it was advantage and race 1 to the Nissan and Brad Sheriff. Great driving, great racing, so much more coming up over the course of the weekend, but that was race 1 for race 3 of the Sparco Tassie Tin Tops. And Brad Sheriff, as expected, jumped to the lead early on in that race, covered off Tim Mann nice and early, and for a little while we thought he was holding him up and backing him up to go for that race lap record. Later we found that he was overheating at this point of the race, and therefore pulled off into the pit lane very early on in the race, and that put it into the hands of Tim Mann, and that was the moment when Brad Sheriff called time on race number 3.
Didn't even complete a lap, unfortunately, and he was talking up prospects of doing a sub 50-second lap time as he just got the lap record in race number 2. So, yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. And then we saw the Ford B8 of Adam Meredith with, we suspect, a brake failure into turn 4 at the very end of that kitty litter. So the Bucky Motors safety car came out on the track, and we went green with about 2 minutes to go. And Timothy Mann finally getting that race win this weekend, no longer a bridesmaid.
He was very happy. He did a great job in his BF. He was the quickest man out on track with a 53.76, the fastest lap time of the race. So Tim Mann will start from pole position alongside Honey Pitt. They'll be the front row. Richard Manning and Dave McCulloch, followed by Steve Gangel, Stuart Brinsmead, and then the 4th row, which will be the final row, Richard Hadault and Adam Meredith. Now, Adam Meredith finished up down in the kitty litter at turn 4, the hairpin, but he's been able to get back out there. So it wasn't a catastrophic brake failure, it would seem, if he is out on track. It looks like Manning wanting to tuck right in. He's not going to miss this race start, so watch for Manning. Richard Manning in his Holden Commodore off the 2nd row. He seems to be engaged. We wait for the red lights now as another one of our cars pulls in, and we're off and racing, and it's a great start by Mann. Hadault's pulled into the pit, so he's pulled out of it, and Honey Pitt holds on to 2nd as Manning goes with a And now McCulloch and Gangel are about to do battle again. The BMW's getting into this one. That's Brinsmead. He's ranging up along the outside of the VL of Gangel. But now, the Holden Commodore VL has the inside run. And Meredith looking at the back of them. But we look back to our leaders. It's Mann, Pitt, Manning and McCulloch.
Man, just strengthening the legs there. Everyone relatively tame on the opening lap. And Herdalt, like you said, Cameron didn't even get to take the start. So straight into pit lane. Obviously got some sort of problem there. These three, great to see that Meredith is back out there after what appeared to be a brake problem. Although you can see a bit of, looks like a bit of undertray sort of hanging around from underneath his car there. So not sure what that is.
Well, he's already gotten through now on Gangel. So Meredith up into the top 5. Honey Pitt, she's in second in the Lotus XE. She comes through. There's the AU Falcon. Look at that. I bet it's got a few fans of the Blue Oval up in their seats. Happy to see an AU back out on track.
You wouldn't think something that Noonan picked up in the previous race, you wouldn't think that you'd have a paddle shift in a Ford BF Falcon, would you, Cameron?
No, well, you nearly got them for supercars, didn't you, Tom? Only a little bit of an uproar from the purists out there.
And all the drivers.
And all the drivers. You'd go back to an H pattern, wouldn't you?
Oh, we could give it a go. Make sure I just don't get it in the wrong slot.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? So Honey Pitt, fastest of all, and yeah, you did pick that up. Looks like under the front splitter. Just starting to wobble around for Meredith. And but here we are, back to Tim Mann, out in the lead.
And it looked like the bonnet on Brinsmead's E30 was flapping about as well there, so I don't know whether he's maybe made contact or something. And just see in the background, Herdalt heading down the fast lane, so whether or not he may rejoin this race or he's heading back to the pits. But yeah, the Brinsmead BMW, it looked like the bonnet was flapping there on the back straight, so maybe try and get a shot of that as our race leader.
You'll have a look at the fastest lap of the race. Last lap round to Honey Pitt. She's just gone fastest of all to the end of the first sector as well. There's a bit of smoke starting to blow out the side of Tim Mann. All may not be well with the leading Falcon.
Although he has just set the fastest middle sector, so there was a little bit of smoke coming out of maybe the left front there. But try and keep an eye on that as well. So Herdalt looks like he's just gone maybe back to the paddock there.
Just heard him rumble past our commentary position as Tim Mann sets off on another lap. He's turned it up. He's now gone fastest of all with a 58.7. Honey Pitt did her best lap, a 59.5, and the gap out to 3.3 seconds. It's Honey Pitt on screen. So we know she's a fan favourite down here in Tasmania. Great to see our female drivers so competitive. Tabitha Ambrose doing such a great job for Hyundai Excel, and Honey Pitt has been pretty much in the top 3 all weekend long. As Tim Mann goes purple again through each sector with a 55.4, and he's now out to 7.5 seconds. We're getting a good indication of just how fast his car can go. Although that is the car of Manning that was just going through screen. Now we're back to Tim Mann. Purple again. He's pushing on with this.
It's a shame that we couldn't have Bradley Sheriff out there as well. So whatever that problem was, that overheating issue, must be terminal for the rest of the weekend, which is a bit of a shame for him because he was teasing the prospect, wasn't he, Cameron, of maybe doing a sub 50-second lap.
Which would have been extremely impressive as we ride on board with Tim Mann. You can see the paddle shift that we talked about in race number 3 in action. Got the dash there, shift lights on, shifting slightly short.
Up to 5th gear here, all the way back to what should be 2nd gear. Into turn 2, trying to square up the exit here, get the lateral load out of the car, and then it's easy flat through turn number 3. As we head down, quite a long straight, all the way down to the hairpin, the infamous hairpin at Symmons Plains Raceway, the slowest corner on the track and pretty much in the country as well. So normally 1st gear there. One thing we used to do in supercars, they would offset the steering rack so you had more left-hand lock available for the hairpin. So it's kind of like our Monaco hairpin, if you like.
Or maybe even the Macau.
The Macau.
Famous hairpin as well. Well, while Tim Mann continues to set purple sectors, fastest laps, the level of professionalism in Trans Am is increasing race after race after race. It almost started as a bit of a, local operation with smaller teams. It is just getting so much more professional, the level of presentation, the crews that are working. Tom Randall, as someone that, like myself, that's been around the sport since you were born, it's awesome to see this category rise.
It is. The professionalism just keeps taking a step up year after year. And I mean, GRM running 5 entries, TFH Hire Racing running 6 entries. So, and with 32 cars on the grid, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have all 32 take the start in this final one. We have lost the likes of Charlie Nash with that engine blown in the first race today. But like you said, the professionalism, and it wasn't that long ago that, like Noon said, he was interviewing them or getting a shot of them with all pretty much the front end of the car off that thing, and it looks in pristine condition now. So great that they're going to take the start.
Oh no, Manning has stopped. Manning has an issue. The 55 out of position 3. He pulls into the pits. McCulloch takes over his spot on the podium. And unfortunately for Manning, his race is done. And now we only have 6 runners left out on track at the moment, it would appear, because Brinsmead will now take over from Manning next time around.
Meredith up into 4th position. So having a nice little battle there with
he's having a look.
Yeah.
So Gangel having a look on Meredith. Starting to come on in the VL. Pushing on. Man from pit, McCulloch. And then this battle over 4th spot. If some of the race control officials that I know, like a Matty Belcom, he's a good lad from the Phillip Island Auto Racing Club, heavily involved with Motorsport Australia. Look at the moves being put on now. The 63 of Man. He's lapping everybody except Honey Pitt. So with that, all of a sudden, Tim Mann has lapped everybody up to 3rd. They've put on a show, the Sparco Tassie Tin Tops. They've been part of Race Tasmania for a while. So many drivers from the Apple Isle. Great to see these incredible cars, in particular Tim Mann. The Blue Oval fans can get to their feet. He's 2 corners away in a BF Falcon 6-litre V8. He won race 3. He'll win race 4 and the rounds. Tim Mann gets the job done, and he wins the final race for Sparco Tassie Tin Tops. He wins the round, and he lapped everybody bar Honey Pitt in 2nd. Here she is. She's the CEO of an aged and disability care provider down in Tasmania. She's a race car driver, and she's been in contention all weekend long. Underpowered compared to her competitors, but brought all of her skill. And as she exits the final turn, Honey Pitt will finish 2nd for race 4 and 2nd for the round. Well done, Honey Pitt. And we had, in the end, 6 runners. Let's have a look at the official results for the Hi-Tec Oils Race Tasmania Sparco Tassie Tin Tops race number 4. And it was Tim Mann in his Ford Falcon BF from Honey Pitt in her Lotus Exige. Then there was the AU Falcon of Dave McCulloch in 3rd. 4th was Stuart Brinsmead, Steve Gangel. And then we had Adam Meredith in 6th. Richard Manning, I mentioned before, was a DNF. Richard Hinault was a DNF. And Brad Sheriff in his Nissan R34 GTR did not take the start for the Sparco Tassie Tin Tops. And that rounds out all of their racing for the day.
3rd place, fixed the hair, well bowled, doing it for the Ford fan.
Thank you very much. Massive thanks to Wayne Monson for lending me this car for the weekend. Never driven it before, so it was good. It lasted the day. I guess it's a sort of a Bradbury moment, isn't it?
Got to be there to be there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, thanks very much.
Grab a trophy from Taylor here at Hi-Tec and a cap. Well played, well bowled. Let's go around to our runner-up in the race and runner-up in the round. Honey Pitt in the little Lotus. We were doing the numerology earlier in the day when we spoke last. We went 3, 2. We were trying to get the 1, but we got another 2. That's still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Yeah, look, came into the day not expecting to be placed in outright. Happy to get a class win, but yeah, second outright's pretty great.
I reckon it's fantastic. Taylor from Hi-Tec Oils is here with a trophy, a hat. I'm not sure it'll work on the helmet quite so well, but congratulations, Hottie. Super stuff. And we'll head around to Tim Mann here, who has done it for the Ford fans in the Tilford Auto Group Falcon 63K. You can hear the Trans Am cars in the background firing up. He's already got the hat on. He's ready to go. He's got the trophy as well from Taylor at Hi-Tec Oils. Congrats, mate. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, the Falcon's been a jet all weekend. Bit of luck with a couple of Nissans dropping out, but we'll take it.
You got to take it how you can get it, mate. It's been great to see the Tassie Tin Tops this weekend. You got some cool cars down here. We can't wait to come back and do it again.
Yeah, hopefully with a few more. Bigger grid.
Well done.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
There he is, Tim Mann, the winner. Sparco Tassie Tin Tops here at Symmons Plains. But round 2 next month, April, lock-in Easter. We are going back to Bathurst. It's the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour at Mount Panorama, the production car classic with a full field of proddy cars across multiple classes. It is one of the must-attend race meetings of the year. Loved it last year. It's going to be big again this year. Trico Trans Am Series will be there as well for round 2. 7 rounds coming up this year. 3 with the supercars. Will be at Winton in August, back to Malala in November, and it all wraps up at the Adelaide Grand Finale for the final round of the series, where we crown maybe a new champ, maybe the same champ at the end of a long season. It has been a massive weekend here in Tasmania. Thank you to the entire team. Thank you to everyone involved. We've thoroughly enjoyed coming down to the Apple Isle. It's been a great weekend of racing. We'll see you at Easter at Mount Panorama.